Day 2 at Wimbledon, and after a first day that delivered more drama than anyone expected, Sinner needing 5 sets just to get past Kekmanovic, 10 British players falling in the first round, Jack Draper withdrawing through injury, Day 2 brings arguably the biggest spectacle of the entire tournament before a ball is even struck in anger. Serena Williams returns to center court for her first singles match in 4 years, taking on Australia's Maya Joint. 23 Grand Slam titles 4 years away, and the whole of SW19 is going to be witnessing tennis history regardless of the scoreline. Iga Swiatek opens the day's action on center court against Taylor Townsend, and the men's showpiece sees 6th seed Taylor Fritz step in against Lajovic after Draper's withdrawal. Zverev begins his Roland Garros title defense campaign, Rybakina is in action, and Anisimova, last year's Wimbledon runner-up, also features. 4 results have already landed today. Let's go through them. Roland Garros champion Alexander Zverev opened his Wimbledon 2026 campaign with a far tougher test than expected, needing 4 sets to see off Belgian rising star Alexander Blocks on center court. Blocks, fearless on his Wimbledon debut, broke Zverev early and held his nerve throughout, with the German's serve briefly deserting him as a string of double faults handed the initiative straight back to the Belgian in the 4th set. Blocks had broken into the world's top 40 this season after a run to the Madrid Masters semifinals, despite grass being relatively unfamiliar territory for him, and he made Zverev work for every point. 4th seed Ben Shelton suffered the upset of the tournament so far, losing in 5 sets to Finland's Otto Virtanen, who had to qualify through 3 rounds just to reach the main draw. Shelton dropped the first set before winning the second and third, the third going to a tiebreak, and appeared on the verge of closing it out, instead collapsing to lose the 4th set 6-2, before Virtanen completed the job in a 11-9 5th set tiebreak. It compounds a miserable run of Grand Slams for Shelton after his shock second-round exit at Roland Garros. A brutal, costly collapse. Taylor Fritz against Dusan Lajovic, 3 sets. The 6th seed stepped into a first round that suddenly looked very different after Draper's late withdrawal opened the door. And Lajovic, a veteran with a flat, aggressive game that can occasionally trouble bigger names on faster surfaces, made Fritz work for it. 3 sets against an opponent ranked well outside the top 50 is not the dominant statement Fritz would have wanted on a day when the British crowd's attention had been diverted elsewhere. But he's through, and the bigger tests are still to come. Alex de Minaur against Burruchaga, 3 sets. The Australian, one of the most reliable grass court movers on tour, had to work harder than the name suggests he should have. Burruchaga competed, made de Minaur cover every blade of grass, and pushed the match into a 3rd set before the seeds class told in the end. De Minaur threw, but with more mileage in his legs than he would have wanted this early. 10th seed Alexander Bublik needed 5 sets to see off Australian wildcard Thanasi Kokkinakis, who returned to Wimbledon after missing 2025. The ranking gap between the two, 480 places, it was the largest in their head-to-head history, but Kokkinakis, despite a losing grass court record, pushed Bublik all the way. Bublik himself arrived with a mixed grass season, having suffered early exits in Stuttgart and Halle. The Kazakh's erratic brilliance was on full display. Moments of genius mixed with costly lapses, but he found enough in the decider to survive a genuine scare from the veteran Australian. Iga Swiatek against Taylor Townsend, 3 sets. And on grass, the surface that has historically been Swiatek's most uncomfortable terrain compared to her dominance on clay. 3 sets against an experienced, awkward opponent like Townsend tells you this wasn't straightforward. Townsend's game is built on disruption, heavy slice, unpredictable patterns, a serve and volley instinct that very few players on tour still carry into matches. That kind of game is exactly the sort that can trouble a baseline player early in a grass season. Swiatek found a way through anyway, but the 3 sets are a reminder that her transition from clay specialist to genuine grass threat is still very much a work in progress. Second seed Elena Rybakina advanced past French wildcard Lois Boisson in 3 sets in a tricky opener at Wimbledon 2026. Boisson, who burst onto the scene with a stunning run at Roland-Garros, posed an early threat with her aggressive baseline game, but Rybakina's superior grass court experience and huge serve eventually told. The Kazakh has historically thrived on this surface, and once she found her rhythm in the decider, the result rarely looked in doubt. A solid professional response after a tricky start, with Rybakina moving into round 2 looking like one of the more dangerous contenders in the draw. Joint ends Serena's comeback dream on center court. Maya Joint brought Serena Williams' emotional Wimbledon comeback to an end in 3 sets on center court in one of the most watched and talked about matches of the entire tournament. Williams, 44 years old and making her first Grand Slam singles appearance since the 2022 U.S. Open, became the 4th oldest player to appear in a women's singles Grand Slam main draw in the Open era. Joint took the first set before Williams dug deep to level the match and force a decider, but the 44-year-old's energy visibly drained in the third. Joint sealed it with a cross-court forehand winner, ending a fairy tale night that had the whole of center court on its feet regardless of the result. Serena's Wimbledon story is finally over. Joint now faces Ilya in round 2. Alex Ilya picked up her first ever Wimbledon main draw victory, dispatching former doubles partner Renata Zarazua 6-1, 6-2 in a quick dominant performance on court 12. Ilya had lost her center court debut last year to Barbara Krejcikova in a 3-setter, and this time entered as a seeded player for the first time at number 29. The pair had actually teamed up at last year's French Open and reached the second round together as doubles partners, but there was no such cooperation today. Ilya arrived in excellent form after winning a WTA 125 title and stringing together upset wins at the Berlin Open. Amanda Anisimova against Gyorcheska, 2 straight sets. Last year's Wimbledon finalist made the kind of opening statement you'd expect from a player with that pedigree on this surface. Clean, efficient, exactly the level required to put down a marker early in the tournament. Her flat, powerful ground strokes translate beautifully to grass, and 2 sets without real resistance is precisely the start she needed after the weight of reaching a Wimbledon final last year. This is what Day 2 delivered on Wimbledon. Which was your favorite match? That's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. It helps me a lot to keep posting videos daily. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.